Hello, this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. Also, I give away the demo card, so if you're a first-time subscriber, put your email in the comments, and I'll email you back and let you know if you won the card. Also, make sure you watch the video all the way through, because you never know, I might give the card away to anyone, or I might be doing card kits or swaps or something. So anyway, now let's go make a card. Hello. So I got a request from one of my viewers to do a simple tutorial on my Brotherscanncut, because I mention it in my videos a lot because I use it to cut DS paper, because a lot of DS paper can be cut really nicely, or to do any kind of masking, which I'm going to be doing here soon. So I wanted to show you a quick tutorial. First of all, when you open up, first of all, I have the ScanNCut DX. This machine's about $300, and there are some that are like $1,000, but no, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, so all you do is you open it up. You have a little stylus that has this little cubby here. So you got that. And then let's go ahead and turn it on. And I'm using my little handheld anti-wobbling thing, so if I wobble, it's not doing its job. Anyway, so I'm turning it on, and the reason why I didn't have it on originally is to show you something very, very important. When you turn on the Brother machine, it has to do its little sync on its rollers before it can take in a mat. So when you got this thing on, go ahead and hit the home button. And then it's going to ask you, the carriage and mat will move initially, blah, blah, blah. What you need to do, it's got to sync its rollers. You have to hit OK. And there it did it. It synced its rollers. Okay, now on to the mat. I'm going to be doing some pastel work. And I had to get a brand new mat. Now, I've had my machine a couple of years, and I've never had to change the mat. And it's because these mats are pretty terrible, believe it or not. And after a couple of tries or using the mat, it loses its stickiness. So you end up taping it. That's why I've got on my machine a bunch of tape here, because I have to use my delicate frog tape. I love this stuff. This is awesome for everything. You get it at the hardware store. It's cheap. It's available. Anyway, it's the yellow delicate frog tape. So I have to tape everything down all the time. But after a while, this mat will stop loading correctly. And as soon as your old mat just won't feed into the machine, it won't take it, the rollers spin, that means you need a new mat. So, but right now, this is a brand new mat. And I also want to show you something else. When you have a brand new mat, and I've used it a couple of times, but I want to show you something here. This is when you're using paper to mask, you need to use really cheap paper. So this is copy paper, so it's really thin. And when it's on a brand new mat, it sticks. I mean, too much. And when you first get it, go ahead and take an old t-shirt and try to get the stickiness off. So I've done this a couple of times on the mat and trying to get rid of some of that stickiness. This will stick pretty much, so we will have to scrape it off. But after a while, that goes away, and then you're going to be taping down your paper. You just don't want this paper to move. The other thing is this image. So I'm going to be starting to use pastel. That's why there's a little bit of pastel dust here. But I'm going to be using some pastels. Now, this is just inked in Poppy Parade. So, you know, it's not going to move or anything. But this particular stamp, which is the Poinsettia one, has a whole bunch of openings. So I took a pencil and I closed up all the openings here. How the ScanNCut works is it looks at an image and cuts around it. And if there are any openings here, it will go in and cut all this out and try to find another opening and blah, blah, blah. So you have to make sure, since we're going to be using this for masking anyway, I just took the pencil and drew over the lines that were open and made this a closed image, like a big circle. So make sure you close your image first. Also on this mat, since I have the DX version of this machine, I had to make sure I had this mat. That's its part number. If you get any other mat, it will not work. Also with the mat, you're going to notice there's an arrow on one side. That's the side that feeds into the machine. That's like super important. So now I'm going to try to do this one-handed. Let's see how well I do. I'm going to feed this into the machine. So I'm going to take it over, and there are little grooves right there on each side. And the mat has to go in between the grooves. I'm going to try to get my thing. Okay. My mat is in the correct position right now. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to feed it in. And to feed in the mat is the middle button here. And it took it right in. It's a brand new mat. Like I said, if your mat all of a sudden won't feed in correctly and you've used it for a while, it's because you need to replace this mat. Okay, so it's already fed in. It's in position. We are doing good. Now I'm going to go over here. This is Basic 101. I really only use this machine to cut like DS paper or do some masking, or if I stamp something that doesn't have a die, I'll use this machine. Now it does a lot of other stuff, but you don't need to know that right now because this is just Basic 101. We're also only using the machine. We are not using a computer or a thumb drive or anything like that, because it will do all that. And don't let the machine scare you, because it does a lot of stuff, but this is what I use it for. Okay, since we're only using the machine and we don't need to worry about any of this other stuff really, I am just going to hit scan. Okay, now we are only, like I said, using the machine, so we're not going to use a computer or anything, so we don't have to worry about these. Just hit direct cut. And then, like I said, there's a computer, there's a machine. We're only using the machine. And then it's going to ask you to start. And what it's going to do is it's going to feed in. And it's going to scan the entire mat. Also, make sure it's away from your wall far enough so it doesn't bump into the wall, because that'll be bad. So it's going to scan the entire mat. So anything you have on that mat, it's going to pick up. So now it went to the end, it's processing, and you get to this part. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this arrow here and move it up, and this arrow here and move it down, because I want to just grab the things that I scan. Now, if this was a piece of DS paper, you can home in on a particular image and it'll just cut that area. Now, so that's the area, and we're going to hit OK. And then it's going to go through the whole mat, and it's only going to grab the section of that you want. So it's going to think here for a second, and then we will come right back. Okay, it has done its little thought process, and it's only going to pull up things that it saw in that area. Now, if you notice, I've got my 4 flowers, but I also got these 2 little dingies right here, and it's from me touching the mat. It picked up this right here. And I really wanted to show you that for a reason. Also, you can tell that my flowers are just one piece, but we're going to confirm that by going over here. Now, you don't have to worry about this stuff now. Like I said, this is Basic 101. So we're going to hit OK. And then it's going to process again. And then we're going to see the same thing, but this is the part where you can edit. Okay, I'm going to edit this. And it's going to have a little red dot on all the images one at a time. So there's a red dot here on that splotch. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to delete it. And OK. And it moves on to the next one. I'm going to delete that. OK. And the next one, delete. And OK. Now it goes to the flowers. Now I can tell that flower is one piece. So I'm going to go next. One piece. One piece, one piece. If I had messed up and didn't close one of these lines, it would have all kinds of lines wiggling inside that. So if you see that on anything that you're scanning, you need to go back out and close up that line. So we are doing good right now. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I do want to say real quick, one of the other things, basic things that I use is offsetting. Like if I did want a halo around it, this is the offset. And you can offset it just a little bit. And you could even go inward as well. But we're not going to do that. We're masking. So we want that to be 0. That's the only other thing I really wanted to show you in this basic 101. So now we know these are all good. We're going to hit OK. And then we're going to go over to the Please Select. This machine does a lot of stuff. It draws, it embosses, it does foil, it does all kinds of stuff, but we're going to be using it to cut. So now it knows to cut those 4 images. Now you could test, you can do all this stuff. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hit start and it's going to start to cut. All right. So it takes it in, it positions it in the middle. Now, like I said, this is a new mat, so I'm not using any tape. But after a couple of times with this mat, it'll lose its stickiness and you need to use that tape because that paper can't move around. If it moves around and it's starting to jam and do all kinds of stuff, go over here and hit the pause and eject the mat because it's not sticky enough and you need to use your tape. And like I said, I use the delicate frog tape. It's awesome. So anyway, right now it's cutting. And then we're going to be scraping it off the mat. So I use that t-shirt trick to try to get a lot of the stickiness off. And this is copy paper. When I used this initially, it stuck to the mat hard and I couldn't really get it off. But we've done the little trick. I've used it a couple of times and the mat should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down and we're going to scrape this off. Before that, I do have to get it out of the machine. So it's finished cutting, so you have to hit OK. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go to home for the moment. And we don't need this anymore. So I'm going to just go OK. It gets rid of all the scanning images and that's fine. And then click this button here to unload the mat. Okay. And the mat comes right off. Now I'm going to put the phone down and we're going to scrape this off. Now I have one of these little tools. It happens to be a Cricut tool because, you know, they know what they're doing. Anyway, Brother doesn't do that, I don't think, or if they do, it comes separate. But I think you can buy these like at the big box store, so it's not a big deal. Now this is still copy paper and this is still a new mat. And even though I did the t-shirt trick, it's still going to be kind of a booger to get up. So it will rip and do all kinds of terrible things. But it's because it's new, because this is copy paper. But just take the big chunks off and then take this tool and very gently pull these up. And since this is kind of a delicate one too, I didn't exactly use a great image here to try on my brand new mat, but you know, maybe it's good that I did because you need to know when it is not in the optimal situation. So it just pulls up just like so. So definitely do the t-shirt trick to that, or put maybe some regular just cheap paper from like Michael's or something down just to get the stickiness off, and then put in your paper. So that is how that works. So I'm going to be using this in a card that's coming up on pastels. This is just the mask, and I'm using the pastel not only for the background, because that's what you think pastels are for, but I'm going to do it to color in the image as well. So it's just another tool to use to coloring in product, and I'll show you how to do that. But that's how you use the Brotherscanncut. So I hope that helped you out. It's a basic tutorial. 99% of the time, that is what you're going to use it for, and that should do it. So that'll do it for me. Thanks. Bye.